Hello everyone, this is Tony the Tutor with AIM again, coming at you guys with another video or another math script. So today's subject is logarithms. I see a lot of students have problems solving logarithms and logarithmic functions. I think it confuses them because it's a standard form and it's not necessarily used anywhere else in math except in its own subject and as it pertains to graphing in relation to it. So logarithms are used basically to break down powers and solve for equations that have powers and exponential functions. So a logarithm is set up as an equation with a coefficient, a base that is raised to the certain power, and it has an output. So your x will be considered your input, which is your power, and your y will be considered your output, which is your answer. And it can be rewritten in the form of your coefficient a, the log of a base b, and your y answer, and then your x exponent. So it's set up a little funky, but we can solve it pretty simply. If we start here with this problem of 6 to the third is equals to 216. So we're going to rewrite this exponential function as a logarithmic function. Not exponential function, but this regular function raised to a power. So we would first identify everything we have. So our a is 1. Our b we can identify as 6 is being raised to the third power. Our x is 3, and our y is 216. So using the equation that we have already, we'll come back to that one. We can solve for our logarithmic function. So now we have our a is 1, so that's no need to be written. Our base is identified as 6, so we have log 6 output, which is our y, right, written in this space, 216 equals 3. So the best way I find to solve problems or to set up logarithmic functions is to identify my a, b, x, and y, know which one I would need to solve for, and solve for it. So subsequently, if this was, let's say that you were solving for the logarithm and you had log of let's say b 216 equals to 3. So you would solve this one by saying b to the third is equal to 216. So now you do your inverse operation to solve for the variable that you have, which would be cube rooting. This is calculator work. B is equal to 6. Now to do a more advanced one, or I'm sorry, not more advanced, let's work backwards. So if we're working backwards, we're going to start an entire new problem where we would say, the problem I had written here for before, which I believe was, I don't quite remember it, so we're just going to go with a off top of the head one. We're going to go log of b of, I'm sorry, I think it was log base 8 of 2 is equal to 1/3. So now I would identify that my a is 1, my b I've identified as 8, my x, I've identified as a third, and my y I identify as 2. So now I would rewrite it in my exponential form, where I would say a, which is 1, 1 times my base, which is 8, times my raised to the x, which is 1/3, my 1/3 power, is equal to my y, which is 2. So now 8 to the 1/3 power is 2, because you can identify 8 being equal to 2 cubed. So if I wanted to include this step, I would say 2 cubed to the 1/3 is equal to 2, or 2 to the 1 is equal to 2. So the best way to get to know these problems is to work on backwards and forwards, and also practicing your powers, breaking down larger numbers into base powers and working backwards through the problems. Backwards and forward is important because a lot of exams will make you go backwards or forwards, and you'll have to know which directions to go. So this is just a basic overview of logarithms. I'm going to be uploading a couple more videos over the next few weeks. I know Georgia students have finals coming up in the second week of May. This is the last week of April. Thank you guys for joining in with today's math script, and this is Tony the Tutor signing out.